Section 1, Hemp. Chapter 1, Saving the Forest. The industrial world's hunger for wood has already destroyed 97% of the mature forests of North America, and the rest of the world's forests are following close behind. Not only are forests the key to preventing loss of topsoil and pollution of waterways, they are also home to most of the world's terrestrial species and the source of much of the world's oxygen. Half the trees cut down are used to make paper products, yet hemp could provide for all of our paper needs. An acre of hemp yields 4 times as much fiber as an acre of trees, and no wildlife is destroyed in the process. With hemp, we can feed our paper industry and let the forests regenerate at the same time. 2. Paper for the long haul. Hemp was the world's first source of paper. Invented in China around 100 BC, 2,000-year-old pieces of hemp paper have stood the test of time, a feat far beyond the capabilities of wood pulp paper. In fact, if wood pulp had been the source of paper throughout history, it is terrifying to think of the history and literature we would know nothing about. For, until the development of acid-free paper, wood pulp paper disintegrated after little more than a century. A return to hemp paper would make the acid-free paper process unnecessary. Hemp paper is also stronger than wood pulp paper. It is naturally pliable and partially water resistant. 3. Fiberboard. Fiberboard, composite boards made from processed wood chips and resins, is used in cabinetry, paneling, furniture, and any other place where non-structural wood is needed. It is one of the fastest growing segments of the wood industry, but fiberboard made from wood chips is notoriously weak. Hemp, with its long, bast fibers, makes far stronger fiberboard and thus has a wider range of applications. It is also more fireproof and insect resistant. 4. Insulation. Just as hemp fiber can replace fiberglass in cars, boats, skateboards, and other solid fiberglass products, it also makes a perfect substitute for that other famous fiberglass material, insulation. Hemp hurds, the inner core of the hemp stalk, high in cellulose, are treated with a fire retardant and then blown into the space between walls. Hemp insulation produces neither the lung nor skin irritation associated with fiberglass insulation. 5. A man's hemp is his castle. Isochambre, a French company, has patented a concrete substitute made by calcifying hemp stalks into a solid mass. The resulting material, also known as isochambre, is as strong as concrete but weighs only 1/7 as much. In addition, it is more flexible, thus better able to withstand natural disasters, and is a much better insulator. The company has already built hundreds of these all-natural houses in Europe, and the first has appeared in Canada as well. A commitment to these efficient, economical houses would significantly lessen the impact of drilling and mining on the environment. 6. Shower curtains. Shower curtains are just one of the many plastic products that release toxic gases when heated. Unfortunately, shower curtains tend to be heated a lot. Rather than be trapped in a small confined space and gassed by your own shower curtain, switch to Hungarian hemp shower curtains, now on the market. Attractive, long-lasting, and naturally mildew-resistant, they are the healthy alternative for your immediate environment as well as your global one. 7. Natural herbicide. Herbicides are bad news, we know. They keep weeds down, but they poison the ground with unnatural chemicals that make our food supply, ourselves, and our world sick. Hemp has been used for centuries as a natural herbicide in places as diverse as Kentucky and Siberia. Capable of growing 6 feet in 2 weeks, the thickly sowed hemp crop simply outcompetes all weeds in sight, choking them off from sunlight and nutrients. So successful is hemp at doing this that it sometimes has been grown purely for this purpose. But why limit yourself? Hemp rotated with another crop leaves your soil in prime shape for whatever follows and gives you an extra cash crop for your trouble. all without ever touching a chemical of any kind. 8. The muddy Ganges. Massive deforestation on the slopes of the Himalayas, hemp's original home, is quickly turning that cradle of spirituality into a barren moonscape. Forested areas that previously lost only 0.03 tons of soil per hectare each year lose as much as 90 tons per hectare after being clear-cut. At that rate, soon nothing but rock is left. The soil washes downstream, clogging rivers and killing aquatic life, and eventually is swept into the sea by the Ganges and other rivers. Vice President Al Gore himself says, quote, "These mountain lands, which boast some of the most spectacular natural beauty on earth, are now being devastated to briefly quench the needs of a single generation." End quote. Hemp, which grows abundantly in the Himalayas when given a chance, can cover these scarred areas with a green bandage of roots, stalks, and leaves that will hold the soil in place and provide an income for the region's people. 9. The fabric of healthy lives. Not cotton. Cotton is one of the most destructive crops in existence. Half the pesticides used in the United States go to cotton alone, which is grown on 3% of the world's best arable land, but is responsible for 26% of the pesticides. Even organic cotton requires extremely heavy irrigation, which ruins the water table and encourages erosion. Continued use of cotton is the best way to ensure that a second Dust Bowl will occur. Hemp, which can be grown organically and sustainably, can be used to make all the textiles we currently make from cotton. Indeed, hemp was our primary source of clothing for centuries until the cotton gin made harvesting cotton extremely inexpensive. In 1776, a hemp shirt cost $1, while a cotton shirt cost $100. With minor alterations, our entire textile industry could switch to hemp, significantly reducing the amount of chemicals that soak into our soil and waterways. 10. The fabric of styling lives. Hemp makes extremely attractive clothing. Its long bast fibers can be spun into fabric that is stronger and thinner than cotton, similar to linen or raw silk. The natural, relaxed hang of hemp is a look that is contemporary and classic at the same time, and is already becoming a symbol for those who have a progressive view of the world's future. 11. Clean hempahol. Corn is not the only plant that can be used to make ethanol. The carbohydrate molecules in almost any agricultural crop can be broken down into a fuel source just as efficient as the gasoline derived from the hydrocarbon molecules in fossil fuels. Per acre, hemp is a more prolific producer of ethanol than corn. Unlike gasoline, ethanol does not produce any of the sulfur or other air pollution responsible for acid rain and various diseases. Conversion of automobile engines from gas burning to ethanol burning would dramatically clean the world's air. 12. No oil spills. The point is so obvious that it might easily be missed, and is worth stating. Hemp causes no oil spills. A world that relies on locally produced hemp ethanol rather than imported oil is a world that never has to see such scenes as the one left by the Exxon Valdez. Hundreds of miles of pristine coastline and thousands of birds and marine animals choked to death by black oil slicks. A world without oil slicks is a beautiful thing. 13. No Gulf War. If the world relied on energy crops like hemp instead of the oil, the Gulf War would never have happened. No more would countries desperate for oil battle each other over desert land. Agricultural crops are renewable sources of energy and can be grown in virtually every country on Earth. They would free much of the world's people from reliance on more powerful or more fortunate nations for their energy needs. Unless a change to agricultural biomass energy is begun soon, as the world's oil supplies run dry, the oil wars will only get more brutal. 14. Bottoms up. Don't forget to count your baby among the new breed of hempsters. Hemp makes the best diapers in the world. Reusable, it doesn't fill landfills as plastic diapers do. And hemp is far more absorbent than cotton, making baby and parents alike drier than do cotton diapers. 15. Sustainability. Any natural resource we use that is not getting resupplied at an equal rate will eventually leave us empty-handed. Think of your bank account. It generates interest, and if you spend only the interest each month, or if you deposit as much as you withdraw, then you can sustain yourself indefinitely. If you consistently spend the capital, however, eventually the bill comes due and you're bankrupt. Right now, the human race is blowing its wad with mind-boggling speed. Our bank account was started by Mother Earth long ago and consists of soil, forest, fossil fuels, and other materials. It generates a little interest by itself each year, but we are burning up all the interest and a great deal of the capital, and the bill is on its way to the table. Using hemp for our material needs can be done on a sustainable basis, a balanced cycle of matter and energy. It isn't really a question of choice, it's just a matter of time. 16. A win-win situation. A nasty side effect of many factories and mining operations is that the surrounding soil gets saturated with concentrations of heavy metals, turning it toxic for centuries. Hemp has been demonstrated to draw heavy metals up through its roots, storing them in its stalk. That's right, several seasons of hemp can literally clean polluted soil. The stalks can then be used for fiberboard, paper, insulation, plastic polymers, any use where they aren't combusted. 17. Airing out the greenhouse. Everyone is now familiar with the greenhouse effect, where carbon dioxide released from burning fuels and breathing animals acts like the panes of glass in a greenhouse, preventing heat from escaping the earth and dangerously raising the planet's temperature. Replacing fossil fuels with hemp as our primary energy source mitigates the greenhouse effect. Growing hemp cycles carbon dioxide out of the air and replaces it with oxygen, restoring the planet's atmosphere to its natural balance. 18. Stronger recycled paper. Many paper recyclers around the world have to buy waste paper from suppliers because local recycling efforts are not large enough to meet their demands. Hemp, grown locally, could supplement the regional supply, bringing wages to locals and eliminating the need for importing waste paper. Hemp's long fibers also increase the durability of recycled paper, which weakens with each cycle of use. 19. The Hemp Mobile. In the 1930s, the great American innovator Henry Ford foresaw a future in which we would no longer have to mine the earth, polluting air and groundwater for centuries in order to get metal to build our automobiles. Plastic was the future. Only problem? Plastic was made from oil, and oil meant reliance on foreign powers. But there was a secret the oil industry did not want anyone to know. Anything made from hydrocarbons and oil could just as easily be made from the carbohydrates in vegetable crops. Henry did just this, making a car, quote, grown from the soil, out of hemp and other annual crops. The car was considerably more durable than its steel counterpart thanks to the hemp fiber in it. What goes around comes around, and today the German auto manufacturer Daimler-Benz is experimenting with a hemp mobile of its own. The advantage? It's all organic and completely recyclable. Number 20. The Queen's Steed. Hemp is the most prized material for animal bedding in the world. The high percentage of cellulose in its stalk makes it extremely absorbent. It has been used in Europe for this purpose for centuries. Much of the hemp currently grown in England goes to this purpose, and the Queen herself provides her horse with a bed of hemp and nothing but. 21. Grass glass. The fiber in fiberglass is easily replaced with hemp fiber, making a durable, naturally grown product that you could call grass glass. Besides insulation, grass glass is ideal for skateboards, boats, even automobile interiors. Several automotive companies are currently experimenting with its use. 22. Snowboards. You aren't cool on the slopes anymore unless you're riding on hemp. That's ever since Marvin Christensen's company Bigfoot came up with their hemp snowboard. Consisting of a wood core wrapped with hemp fabric and decorated with hemp twill, the board is light, durable, and environmentally friendly. And most importantly, if you're a snowboarder, it's on the cutting edge of hip. 23. The People versus Woody Harrelson. On June 1st, 1996, the actor Woody Harrelson was arrested for planting 4 seeds of industrial hemp in Beattyville, Kentucky. The previous day, Harrelson had held a press conference on hemp and announced an essay contest for grade schoolers in Kentucky. After his arrest, Harrelson said, quote, "I planted industrial hemp and got arrested because someone must highlight this difference, and in order to truly know the law, one must test the law. I think it is time for all of us to make a stand." End quote. Thus, Harrelson became the latest in a long line of great Americans who have used civil disobedience as a means of saving part of the world despite empty laws. On January 23, 1997, a judge ruled that not differentiating between hemp and marijuana is unconstitutional. 24. Balance of power. The United States may turn its nose up at the prospect of a hemp industry, but other less fortunate nations know a good thing when they see it. The leading producers of hemp are nations such as Ukraine, China, Romania, and Hungary. It is rare for these nations to be out in front of the Western world in any industry, and this one is no coincidence. In all these nations, hemp is a traditional part of culture. They continued growing it when it was long forgotten in more advanced nations, and, for now at least, they are reaping the rewards. It will be years before the United States can catch up with them. 25. Farmaid. All over the United States, farmland is lying fallow when it could be growing hemp. Hemp makes an excellent rotation crop with corn, enabling a farmer to get more than twice the profits out of the same soil while keeping it free of weeds for the next crop. This caused singer Willie Nelson to say that hemp, quote, could make the very difference between the survival of the family farm and its extinction. It is much more valuable than corn or other grains, and has many markets. End quote. The American Farm Bureau, the largest farming organization in the United States, and one hardly known for its radical stances, is so enthusiastic about hemp's potential that it passed a unanimous resolution in 1996 to, quote, encourage research into the viability and economic potential of industrial hemp production. End quote. 26. Native hemp. The confusion of the U.S. government regarding industrial hemp may turn into a windfall for the country's original occupants. Native American tribes, including the Navajo, Tuscarora, and Oglala Sioux, are all investigating growing hemp on tribal lands. These lands are not under the jurisdiction of the federal government. Having a monopoly on the domestic hemp crop could give these tribes an excellent and stable economic base. The Navajo Nation planted their initial hemp crop on March 17, 1996. Money to buy the seeds was raised by weaving and selling elaborate hemp tapestries. They eventually planned to grow 30,000 acres. In their official resolution, they stated that their reason for growing hemp is to ensure the future of Mother Earth. 27. Tobacco salvation. Amid lawsuits, scandals, and an increasingly non-smoking public, the tobacco industry is losing favor. This is good news, but the loss of thousands of jobs on farms and factories is not. Fortunately, salvation is at hand. Hemp can be grown in the same fields that now grow tobacco, and processed in many of the same factories that now produce cigarettes. This keeps everyone at work, making a product that supports a sustainable future rather than one that exhausts the soil, kills hundreds of thousands of people each year, and transfers immense healthcare costs to each of us. Don't take my word for it. Take Thomas Jefferson's. Quote, "The best hemp and the best tobacco grow on the same kind of soil. The former article is of the first necessity to the wealth and protection of the country. The latter, never useful and sometimes pernicious, derives its estimation from caprice. Hemp becomes the means of support to numbers of people, hence it is to be preferred." End quote. 28. Go Canada. While the United States invents reasons why it cannot allow industrial hemp to be grown, Canada has no such qualms, and government-sanctioned hemp crops have been growing there since 1995. Canada, which generally cannot compete economically with its southern neighbor, is way out in front on this one, and just may steal a badly needed industry for itself. 29. Third world relief. Hemp grows well in many areas of the world suffering from malnutrition and impoverishment, such as Africa. By encouraging large-scale hemp agriculture, organizations such as the Peace Corps can give African farmers a fiber crop that could be sold for good prices on the international market, significantly raising their standard of living. At the same time, the seed would provide farmers and their families with a high-quality source of food. 30. Grassroots industry. Until recently, hemp was too controversial for any large companies that need to worry about public relations, so hemp became the province of young idealistic entrepreneurs. These enterprising upstarts wanted to make money, sure, but they were in it to do some good, too. They were interested in hemp because of its environmental benefits, and were rewarded with an industry where they could make a living and make a small difference at the same time. Today, through a few big-name companies such as Calvin Klein, Adidas, and Levi's, these who have dipped their toes into the hempen waters, hemp is still a cottage industry. It is one of the few industries left where you can know that your money is finding its way into the hands of people who want to do their part to save the world. Note, that should have said, today, though a few big-name companies, such as Calvin Klein, Adidas, etc., it's still cottage industry. 31. Enlightened kids. Hemp is helping teach kids the difference between good deeds and self-serving government. Actor Woody Harrelson sponsors a contest for the best essays on the uses of industrial hemp by students in grades 4 to 12. Awards are given in 3 age categories. Harrelson said that kids, quote, seem to understand the issue a lot better than adults. It seems very simple to them, and they didn't seem to confuse hemp with marijuana, end quote. Teaching children to think for themselves and get their own information on a subject rather than simply swallowing the official story is one of the healthiest acts of a democratic society. Industrial hemp is a perfect lesson in the reality of American government. 32. Balancing the imbalance. The story of the 1990s has been the flight of manufacturing jobs out of the United States to cheaper foreign labor markets. Hemp is helping to make up for this loss of jobs. The majority of hemp products, from cosmetics to paper, textiles, and foods, are made in the United States using imported hemp by artisans and entrepreneurs who are making a living doing so. Hemp customers also place a healthy emphasis on quality, sustainability, and handmade touches that help support this anti-factory approach. 33. Mother of masterpieces. Hemp was the canvas on which many of the world's greatest paintings were created, including those of Rembrandt and Van Gogh. The Spanish artist Jean Miraut's great tapestry that hangs in the World Trade Center is composed of wool and hemp. 34. It's patriotic. 1. When the fledgling republic cast around for a flag to embody its new spirit of independence, Betsy Ross was there with her needle and her hemp. Were it not for hemp, she might have had to paint the stars and stripes onto a deer hide. Somehow, a ragtag army of farmers waving deer skins over their heads would have been less inspiring, and the country might not have ever been the same. 35. It's patriotic too. Both the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States of America were drafted on hemp paper. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, John Adams, and America's other patriotic greats proudly put their names to hemp paper, as no modern politician would dare to do. Washington and Jefferson grew acres of hemp, an activity that today would land them in jail for life. 36. Hemp for victory. Though hemp was banned in 1937, the United States suddenly reversed its position in 1942, subsidized the cultivation of the crop, and even made a short film urging farmers to grow it. What had changed? World War II. Since 1937, the United States had been importing its hemp from the Far East, but with that supply cut off by the Japanese, the U.S. found itself in a bind. Every Navy battleship required 34,000 feet of hemp rope to keep running. Without hemp, millions of GIs couldn't tie their shoes, and parachutes had no webbing. So hemp metamorphosed overnight from the evil weed to the patriotic crop. Hundreds of thousands of acres were grown under government contract to save the country. After the war, the government flip-flopped once more, and hemp became the evil weed again. but who knows when it will be called upon next to save a person, country, or planet. 37. Getting the word out. And I do mean the word. When Johannes Gutenberg perfected movable type in the 15th century, he would have had nothing to print on without hemp. Hemp was responsible for almost all of the world's paper at that point. Thus, Gutenberg's famous Bible and most other books owed their existence to hemp. With the production of the printing press and a steady source of paper, literacy flourished in Europe and the Dark Ages were left behind in earnest. 38. The Scythe. The Scythians were a fierce nomadic people from the Russian steppes who swept into Europe around 700 BC. They brought with them their hemp culture. They made clothing from its fiber and used its psychoactive properties in religious rites. They had developed a curved cutting tool perfect for harvesting the stalky plant, a tool superior to any used in Europe at the time. The tool helped to revolutionize agriculture in Europe, and today still bears the name of the civilization that introduced it. 39. The power of canvas. One of the great leaps in human creativity was the invention of the sail. Wind power turned the seas from unconquerable monsters into ideal trade routes, and the first great age of exploration and commerce was on. The Arabs were the first people to master the triangular sail, and they also gave us the word for what that sail was made of, canvas, which they called kanafis, from the Greek cannabis, hemp in other words. Hemp triggered the discovery of the New World, the establishment of worldwide trade routes, indeed, the entire notion that the earth was primarily water with small islands of land, rather than land with occasional small seas in it, and the world has never looked back. 40. National independence. Thomas Jefferson believed hemp to be so important to the independence of the colonies that he secretly brought new varieties of it back from France, thus becoming the first cannabis smuggler on record. The profusion of hemp in the colonies provided an independent source of paper, clothing, rope, food, oil, and sails, and was one of the arguments Thomas Paine used in Common Sense to convince the colonists that they could secede from England. Today, a healthy hemp industry still gives a nation economic independence by providing a source for all the basic needs of society without reliance on foreign trade. 41. The temples of man. Ever wonder how the Egyptians moved the giant limestone blocks they used to build the pyramids? Only one substance was strong enough to allow hundreds of slaves to drag the blocks: hemp. Hemp cordage 4,000 years old has been found at Thebes, and bas-relief carvings show piles of hemp stalks being used for fiber while the tons of plants are being crushed into incense, another favorite of the Egyptians, who considered cannabis incense to be particularly pleasing to the gods. Thus, hemp made it possible the construction of these holy places and enhanced the feelings of worship that inspired them. 42. Purity. Contrary to the United States, in Japan, hemp is considered such a superior plant that it has long been associated with purity itself. For this reason, hemp was the fabric of choice for religious ceremonial garb. The plant was considered so powerful a blessing that it was even used to drive away evil spirits. Shinto priests would attach undyed hemp fibers to one end of a stick and wave the stick over the heads of individuals thought to be possessed by spirits. Since it was believed that evil and purity could not coexist, the presence of the hemp would drive the evil away. Hemp became the primary source of fabric for kimonos, and the naturally beautiful material allowed Japanese artisans to achieve unparalleled heights of craftsmanship. 43. Soy schmoy. Tired of tofu? Eaten enough soy burgers for one lifetime? Then you'll be glad to know that there's a better source of protein out there. You guessed it, hemp. The seeds of the hemp plant, actually classified as fruit, have served as a primary food source in China, India, and Russia for thousands of years. Each hemp plant can produce about a liter of seed, and about 25% of the seed is protein. This protein is the most complete protein to be found in the vegetable kingdom, and is more easily digested than soy protein and just as versatile. And how does it taste? Nutty and delicious, most people say. But find out for yourself. Hemp seed products are available throughout the United States and Europe, from seedy, sweety snack bars to hemprella cheese, hemp hay burgers, Cajun roasted hemp seed, pure hemp seed oil, hemp seed flour, even hemp seed oil ice cream. And the seed of the hemp plant is always THC free, even seed obtained from psychoactive varieties. 44. EFAs for smart eaters. EFAs, essential fatty acids, are more important to the body than vitamins, yet they get far less attention. Fatty acids provide the lipids that keep cells fluid and flexible. While some of these can be manufactured by the body, essential fatty acids cannot and must be consumed in food. Hemp seed oil is an excellent source of EFAs. By keeping cells naturally flexible, EFAs help to regulate all processes within the body, especially the brain, which is composed largely of EFAs. Experiments with animals have shown that a diet deficient in EFAs can result in poor brain development, faulty immune function, dried tear ducts and salivary glands, slow-healing wounds, cardiovascular abnormalities, susceptibility to arthritis and inflammatory disorders, non-elastic skin, and poor reproduction. Thus, hemp seed should be considered an essential food source, especially for children, pregnant women, and nursing mothers. 45. Omega-3. In recent years, scientists have discovered the powerful health benefits of one particular EFA, omega-3 fatty acid, found in cold water oily fishes such as salmon, mackerel, and herring. This essential fatty acid has been proved to lower cholesterol levels and blood pressure, and to inhibit platelet coagulation, or hardening of the arteries. There are very few sources of omega-3 oil other than fish. The two best terrestrial sources are flaxseed oil and hemp seed oil, but there is a major difference between the two. Hemp seed oil has a wonderful natural flavor and makes excellent salad dressing, while flaxseed oil is known to make people gag and can cause skin problems if overused. For these reasons, Dr. Andrew Weil, a longtime advocate of flaxseed oil, now recommends hemp seed oil to his patients. 46. Defending your life. Your immune system is your key to prevent disease, fight off illness, and living a long and healthy life. It is composed of white blood cells, and these white blood cells, along with all other proteins, are constructed with amino acids. 8 of these amino acids cannot be manufactured by the body and must be supplied by our food. These are called the essential amino acids. Hemp seed is one of the rare vegetable sources of all 8 essential amino acids, and it is particularly rich in a rare one called edestin. Edestin is so important to the immune system that it has been studied for decades as a treatment for tuberculosis, cancer, and now AIDS. 47. Supple Skin. Hemp seed oil is one of the few sources of gamma-linolenic acid, or GLA, an EFA that resembles sebum, the natural lubricant in skin and hair. For this reason, personal hygiene products made with hemp seed oil enhance the skin's softness and smoothness and may lend hair its natural sheen and body. GLA may also help treat psoriasis, eczema, dandruff, and other skin diseases. A number of companies now have hemp seed-based hair and skin care products on the market. These products include massage oil, lip balm, shampoo, conditioner, perfume, body soap, skin cream, facial scrub, and salve. 48. Hemp Hummus. With the protein punch of hemp seed, the EFAs of hemp seed oil, the invigorating properties of garlic, and absolutely no THC, a bowl of this a day will keep the doctor, the DEA, and your less adventurous friends away. 1 14-ounce count of chickpeas drained, reserve liquid. 1/4 cup liquid from chickpeas, juice of 1 lemon, ½ cup ground roasted hemp seed, ½ cup pure hemp seed oil, 4 garlic cloves, ½ cup parsley. Mix all ingredients in blender or food processor until smooth. Add more chickpea liquid if needed. Serve as an appetizer or main course if garlic doesn't scare you, with pita bread, bagel chips, or raw vegetables, and the world will indeed be a much improved place. 49. The Breakfast of Champions. Wanting to cut down on that morning coffee habit? Looking for a new brew for breakfast? Hemp seed/coffee blends are now on the market, as well as a coffee-free beverage made with roasted hemp seed and chicory. Roasted hemp seeds eliminate some of the bitterness in coffee, cut down on the amount of caffeine, and provide an easy way of getting your essential fatty acids. To get the complete hemp morning experience, brew with a reusable 100% hemp coffee filter. 50. Hemp Ale. There is one exception to the rule that you can't catch a buzz from industrial hemp. Hemp Ale, brewed by Frederick Brewing Company of Frederick, Maryland, uses hemp seed for 30% of its grain. According to Marjorie McGinnis, president of the brewery, quote, "The hemp seeds give it a kind of creamy head and a kind of herbal floral smell. It has a kind of a nutty taste. It tastes like beer with a twist." End quote. The chairman of Frederick Brewing Company, Kevin Brannon, says, quote, "We support those who are attempting to awaken policymakers to the vast potential of a renewed American hemp industry. We're doing our part, one beer at a time." End quote. 51. Feathered Friends. Hemp seed is the favorite food of birds everywhere. 4 million pounds of it were sold for this purpose in the United States in 1937. Serious bird raisers have continued to import hemp seed ever since. Birds fed hemp seed get fewer diseases and live 20% longer on average. Chickens produce larger, oranger, more nutrient-rich eggs when hemp seed is a part of their diet. 52. No, 52 is next part.